In this podcast series, we educate dog owners, veterinary practices, and dog trainers using humane methods. My name is Scott Schaefer, and it's my mission to help you better understand your dog's behavior. Welcome back to the USA Dog Behavior Podcast. I'm Scott Schaefer, a certified dog behaviorist. In today's episode, we're going to talk about one of the most misunderstood and honestly one of the scariest subjects in dog behavior, and that is unusual forms of canine aggression. Most people think that dog aggression is just growling over food or snapping at strangers, but there are other types of aggression that appear suddenly without warning and leave owners shocked and confused. Today, I'm walking you through 6 of the most rare and frightening forms of dog aggression that every dog owner should understand or at least be aware of. If for no other reason, it's really interesting. But if you look in the dog world, if you're around a lot of other dogs, you get out in public a lot, you'll see some of these types of kind of oddball aggression. Number 1, idiopathic aggression. Probably the most unusual of the 6 that I'm going to talk about today. This is sometimes called rage syndrome or sudden onset idiopathic aggression. These dogs can go from calm to violent in just seconds or less, actually, with no obvious trigger. Often the dog looks confused and lethargic after one of these aggressive episodes. That's one of the biggest characteristics. Almost like they don't remember what just happened. And this isn't a training issue or a lack of training issue. This is where medical testing and neurological exams come first before behavioral evaluation is done, as it is associated with neurological seizure activity, specifically partial seizures. If you ever hear someone say, he just snapped for no reason, this is one of the possibilities we need to rule out. There are other reasons for that kind of behavior, but this is definitely one of them. Medications can be used to treat this, but there are issues to consider when treating this behavior with medications. It's not a golden fix by any means with medications. And I'm going to tell you something else. The level of aggression on this can really be substantial in this type of aggression, can be. All right, let's talk about the next one. Conflict aggression. Also really kind of rare in a pure conflict aggression. Some people confuse this with other types of aggression, such as control-related aggression. It is its own unique thing. It's called conflict aggression. It happens when a dog feels emotionally torn or ambivalent. They want to approach something, but they're scared. They want affection, but they feel threatened. So you get behavior that looks unpredictable. One moment the dog leans in, it seems fine. The next moment they snap, and they can go back and forth in one episode. This is actually fairly predictable behavior once you understand stress signals in dogs. Lip licking, turning away, freezing, etc. These are the precursors to this kind of aggression. The dog is saying, I'm not okay one moment, and then a moment later, the dog is saying, I am okay, and it can flip back and forth. A rare type of aggression, rarely diagnosed, rarely properly diagnosed, to be honest with you. Number 3, impulse aggression. Impulsive aggression is fast, it's explosive, and it's poorly controlled by the dog. Really is what it sounds like. These dogs don't pause to think. Poor impulse control. They just react. It's like emotional road rage. Triggers can be excitement, frustration, sudden movement, overstimulation of all different types. These dogs need help learning emotional regulation or simply impulse control. I have an exercise called ICE, impulse control exercise, that I do for these types of dogs. Using punishment to treat this kind of aggression can be quite counterproductive. Why is that? Because all you're doing is treating the behavior, not the root cause. Really important. This one's not all that rare, believe it or not, and it really varies from kind of a problem to a big problem. There's a wide range of levels of this kind of impulsive aggression. So not all that rare. Next one, redirected aggression. Actually, this is kind of an oddball type of aggression, I think some people might think, but in actuality, it's really common and it shows up in all kinds of ways. This can be one of the most dangerous for owners. Redirected aggression can really cause injury to dog owners, although it usually doesn't. So imagine a dog going crazy at the fence because another dog is walking by. We call it fence running. You grabbed your dog to pull them away from the fence and the dog on the other side. And guess what? Suddenly you get bitten. The dog wasn't trying to attack you at that moment. Their brain was overloaded and you were the closest target. Wrong place, wrong time. This is why breaking up fights or grabbing aroused dogs is so risky. And I always warn my private clients not to do this. They are loaded up with epinephrine, that is adrenaline, just the same hormone that you and I have, and they are just out of control and don't know how to control their impulses in that moment. Redirected aggression, I should do an episode on that because it would take a whole episode to talk about how it manifests in all the different ways. Number 5, this one is fairly common. I see it a lot more than the first few, less than in redirected aggression, but it's called sleep startle reflex. And the name again tells you what it is. It simply means some dogs wake up swinging. And I don't mean dance swinging, I mean fight swinging, especially dogs with trauma or anxiety. When startled from sleep or resting or near sleep, they may snap or bite before they realize where they are and what they're doing and who you are. They're not being mean, they're just scared and disoriented. This is why I tell families, never wake a sleeping dog by touching them. Really don't do this, especially if it's a big dog. Call their name first, tap the floor with your foot near them, and always teach kids to leave sleeping and resting dogs alone. I want to repeat that. Always teach kids to leave sleeping dogs and resting dogs alone, even if they don't suffer with sleep startle reflex. I'm sure all of you have seen some of the YouTube videos. They're hilarious. With dogs with sleep startle reflex, they'll wake up. They don't always bite. Sometimes they'll start running. I mean, I'm telling you, the second their eyes opening, they are running down the hall and frequently will run into something. They don't know where they are or what they're doing. It's pretty funny, although sometimes not funny when they bite because they're afraid. This last one, number 6, predatory aggression toward humans. Now, notice I'm not saying predatory aggression. Dogs are carnivores. They like eating little animals. That is completely normal. We shouldn't be worried about that too much. We may not like that they do that, but we certainly don't really want to punish them for that or be overly obsessed about that. I'm talking about predatory aggression toward humans. This is very bad. These are pet dogs who have been domesticated for many hundreds of years to not do that behavior. So when we see one doing this, it's very scary. This doesn't look like fear or anger because it's not. It's predatory. There's no growling. There's no warning. It's silent and focused prior to the attack. The dog doesn't want to scare away the human, which is why dogs normally act aggressively to people. They're wanting to scare the people away, but in this case, they want to sneak up and go after the human in order to bite them. So think about it this way. Dogs that are fearful of something, such as a human or another dog, will bite and act aggressively, offensive, defense, and scare them away. It's called a distance increasing behavior. However, in predatory behavior, the animal, the predator, wants to get closer to the prey. So they act quietly and stealth-like. And that's called distance decreasing behaviors. And that's what they'll do. It's really kind of scary, so they can get closer to the human in order to bite them and act aggressively toward them. Running children, squealing sounds, or fast movement can help trigger this. This is prey drive directed at people. These kind of cases, of course, require immediate professional help and serious safety planning and management. I would definitely put this in a pathological behavior, certainly for a pet dog. Again, Really, 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 really rare. Really rare. I know new parents are always concerned about this when they bring a baby into the home. And I did a podcast on this a few episodes ago about that very subject, how rare that is, but it does, in fact, sometimes happen. Some closing thoughts. Not all aggression is created equal. There are other kinds of aggression that fall outside of these 6 types that are much more common. So there's a lot of different types of aggression. I just covered 6 of the more unusual types today. If your dog's aggression feels sudden, strange, unpredictable, that's a huge red flag that you need professional guidance. Actually, all types of dog aggression need help and professional guidance, in my opinion, especially those types of aggression directed at humans, whether it's prey or other types. One of the biggest mistakes many owners of aggressive dogs make is assuming aggression is about dominance or stubbornness. This is one of the reasons that dog aggression is so often improperly addressed and the aggression ends up getting worse. Because in reality, it's almost always about fear, confusion, neurological or emotional overload. That's what's causing aggression. Fear being the number one cause. It's the root cause. Understanding what type of aggression you're dealing with changes everything from treatment to safety and management decisions. If you're facing this with your dog, you're not alone. Aggression in dogs is unfortunately more common than people think. And getting help early can definitely make all the difference. Don't wait. It always gets worse over time if left untreated. If today's episode helped you, I'd really appreciate a quick rating or review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. It helps other dog owners find the show. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with other dog lovers. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll continue our dive into the world of dog behavior.